Okay, so today I want to talk about something that I think almost nobody is paying attention to right now. And that's actually interesting to me because when you understand what's really happening, you realize that the most important story of this war is not the bombs falling on Tehran. It's not the missiles over the Gulf. It's not even the Strait of Hormuz. The most important story of this war is what China is doing, or more precisely, what China is not doing, because China is sitting very quietly. It's not firing any missiles. It's not sending any troops. It's not threatening anyone. It's just watching. And while it's watching, it is winning in a way that will shape the next 50 years of global history. Okay, before we start, I want to address the comments. A lot of you are writing Chinese propaganda. He always praises China, typical Chinese person. Okay, I am a teacher. I look at patterns and data. That is my job. So here is my challenge to you. If my data is wrong, tell me. Write in the comments, sir, your data is incorrect. Here's the real data. I will read it. I will correct myself. But if you cannot find anything wrong with the data, then do not talk about my identity. Talk about the argument, because attacking the person is not thinking, it is avoiding thinking. Okay, now let's begin. So I want to walk you through this very carefully, because to understand what China is doing, you first need to understand the game that's being played. And the game is very simple. It's a game about oil, about who controls oil, and about what happens to the country that controls oil. Let's start from the beginning, okay? So think about this. What is the most important resource in the world today? Some people say semiconductors. Some people say water. Some people say rare earth minerals. But actually, if you think about it carefully, the answer is still oil, because oil runs everything. It runs factories. It runs ships. It runs trucks. It runs airplanes. It runs armies. Without oil, the global economy stops. Without oil, wars cannot be fought. Without oil, modern civilization as we know it cannot function. And here is the key thing I want you to understand. The country that controls the flow of oil does not just control energy. It controls the global economy. It controls the behavior of other countries. It controls who gets rich and who gets poor. This is what the Americans understood after World War II, and this is why they built the petrodollar system. Let me explain the petrodollar. Okay, so after World War II, America made a deal with Saudi Arabia. The deal was very simple. Saudi Arabia sells all its oil in US dollars. Only US dollars. Not pounds, not francs. Not any other currency, US dollars. In exchange, America protects the Saudi royal family and keeps them in power. Now, why is this important? Because if everyone in the world has to buy oil in US dollars, then everyone in the world needs US dollars. And if everyone needs US dollars, then America can print as many dollars as it wants and everyone will still accept them. This means America can run massive budget deficits. It can borrow unlimited money. It can fund the biggest military in the world. It can build its financial empire on Wall Street. This is the secret of American power, not aircraft carriers, not nuclear weapons, not even technology. The secret of American power is the petrodollar system. The dollar is the oil currency, and because of that, the dollar rules the world. Okay, so now you understand why controlling oil is so important. Whoever controls the oil controls the dollar, and whoever controls the dollar controls the world. So now let's ask a question. Who is the biggest threat to the petrodollar system right now? China. Okay. Now, I want to be very careful here because I want you to think about this like a strategist, not like a journalist, not like a politician, like a strategist. China is the largest importer of oil in the world. Every single day, China imports about 11 million barrels of oil. Think about that number, 11 million barrels, every single day. China's entire economy, its factories, its cities, its military runs on imported oil. And here is the most important thing. For the past decade, China has been doing something very clever. It has been buying Iranian oil, not in US dollars, in Chinese yuan at a discount. Because Iran is under American sanctions, it cannot sell its oil on the open market, so it sells quietly to China at a cheap price. And China pays in yuan, not dollars. Last year, the year before this war started, China was buying about 1.38 million barrels of Iranian oil every single day. That is about 13% of China's total oil imports. And most of this was done secretly, under false flags. Ships carrying Iranian oil would stop in Malaysia or Indonesia, change their documentation, and then sail to China labeled as Malaysian or Indonesian oil. This is how China was getting cheap oil while avoiding American sanctions. But it's not just Iran. China also had Venezuela. Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves in the world. And Venezuela, like Iran, was under American sanctions. And Venezuela, like Iran, was selling its oil to China at a discount, in yuan, not dollars. So China had built this beautiful system. Cheap oil from sanctioned countries, paid in yuan, not dollars. This is a direct attack on the petrodollar system because every barrel of oil traded in yuan is a barrel that doesn't need dollars. And if enough barrels are traded in yuan, the dollar loses its dominance. The Americans understood this. And this is actually, and I want you to pay close attention here, this is actually one of the real reasons for this war. Okay, so let me explain this properly, because I think most people are getting confused about what this war is really about. The official reason for the war is simple. Iran has nuclear weapons. Iran is a threat to Israel. Iran supports terrorism. These are the reasons Trump gave publicly. And sure, these things are true to some degree, but they are not the real reason. The real reason is the petrodollar. Think about what America did in the 2 months before this war started. First, in January, America arrested Venezuela's President Maduro and took control of Venezuelan oil fields, cut off China's Venezuelan oil supply. Then in February, America launched this war against Iran, cut off China's Iranian oil supply. In just 2 months, America cut off more than 20% of China's total oil imports. That is not a coincidence. That is a strategy. The war against Iran is also a war against China's energy supply. The Americans are trying to strangle China's economy by cutting off its cheap oil. Now, a journalist would stop here and say, okay, so America is hurting China. America is winning. But a strategist asked the next question, is this strategy actually working? And what happens next? And this is where it gets very interesting. Okay, so let's think about what China did when the war started. The Americans expected China to panic. They expected China to scramble for oil. They expected China to be weakened, maybe even humiliated. Because if you lose 20% of your oil imports suddenly, that is a serious problem. But here's what actually happened. China did not panic. China did not scramble. China was prepared. First, China had already built one of the largest strategic oil reserves in the world. Before this war started, China had enough oil stored in reserve to last for several months, even if all imports stopped completely. Dalian Port, Xueqin Port, massive underground storage facilities across the country. China had been quietly building these reserves for years because China knew this day was coming. Second, China had Russia. Russia already supplies more than 17% of China's oil imports. And Russia is under American sanctions too. And Russia is also selling oil to China in yuan, not dollars. So when Iranian and Venezuelan oil was cut off, China could turn to Russia. And Russia was very happy to sell more oil to China because Russia needs the money. Third, and this is the most clever part, China kept its factories going. China's economy did not collapse. Transportation fuel costs went up about 10% month on month. Some disruption, some airline price increases, but nothing catastrophic. China adjusted because it had planned for this. So the American strategy of strangling China through the oil war, it didn't work. Not the way America expected. But here's where the story gets really interesting. And this is the part that almost nobody is talking about. While America thought it was attacking China through this war, it was actually doing something much more beneficial for China. It was destroying its own position in the Middle East and creating a vacuum. A vacuum that China is now quietly moving to fill. Let me explain what I mean. Okay, so think about the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain. These are the countries that are the foundation of the petrodollar system. They sell oil in dollars. They invest their oil profits in American banks, American stocks, American bonds. This is called petrodollar recycling. And this recycling is what keeps the American financial system alive. Now, what has this war done to the Gulf states? Iran has been targeting them systematically. Iranian drones struck the Fujairah oil industry zone in the UAE. Iranian missiles targeted Qatar's Ras Laffan, the biggest gas facility in the world. Iranian drones and missiles have been hitting Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain. Schools in the UAE are doing remote learning because of Iranian strikes. The Gulf states are terrified, and who is protecting them? America, right? America is supposed to protect them. That is the whole deal. That is why they sell oil in dollars, because America protects them. But here is the problem. America has been failing to protect them. Iranian drones are getting through. Iranian missiles are hitting their facilities. And the Gulf states are watching this very carefully. They are asking a very important question. If America cannot protect us from Iranian drones right now, when America is fully committed to this war, then what happens in the future? Can we really trust America to protect us forever? And this question, this doubt, this is exactly what is destroying the foundation of the petrodollar system.